Yeah, it's hot and humid enough to melt your flip-flops, but it's also prime time to start your fall garden. Peter and Rolf Nelson with Nelson Nursery and Water Gardens are here to help you dig in for the fall harvest. Hello there.
Good morning,
Hi,
Deborah.
Deborah.
All
Good
right,
to see you.
before we get started, Rolf, this is Peter's your little sprout.
Yes, we grew them big.
Yeah, what was it like when he said, you know what, I think I want to go into the business? Because you all are a family business.
We are a family business and very proud, actually. Yeah, I have to say that. And he's taken it in a little different direction. My background is growing the plants. And that's what I do, and I answer questions about growing plants. And Peter has that design eye that my wife has.
Yeah.
So he can envision things and help you get something fantastic in your own home landscape.
And Peter, that's the thing. Sometimes kids run away from what their parents are doing. You grew up in the business. You love it, but you truly love it.
I do. I said I got to go to work with Dad every morning as a kid, playing in the ponds, working with plants. I always loved being outside. And actually, when I started college, I started in horticulture, and I had no problems with it. I loved it. But then I took an elective of landscape architecture, and then realized that was my calling, where I could apply all that knowledge of the plants and create, gardens and landscapes and outdoor
It's one of those things
spaces.
that makes people happy. I know, especially during COVID, I know we would go down, that was like our field trip. We go, hey, I know.
Feed the
go to,
fish.
yeah, Nelson.
Yes.
Yeah, we go down and just to be around the plants, it has a health benefit to it.
Absolutely. I mean, I just think it's so good to be outside, and the plants. It purifies the air. I think it's good to touch the earth and just get connected to the earth. I just think it's good for everything.
All right, people say, okay, Houston, it's so hot and it's so dry. Although I don't think it's been quite as hot this year than it was as it was last year. I guess that
We've been
dry,
lucky.
hot,
Yes.
yeah. But I say it to say this: Houston really is a growing season all year round, just about, isn't it?
You have something that you can do
Yeah.
year round. Absolutely.
It depends on what you're growing, obviously.
Yeah, and we're now getting into that second season for vegetables. We have a tray of veggies here. We plant tomatoes and peppers in the spring for the spring and summer crop. Then it gets too hot, tomatoes stop producing, so you plant again at this time of year, so that you have a fall crop of tomatoes and peppers and a lot of other veggies.
All right, it all starts with laying the foundation, because we all want to just dig into what dirt we have and just stick it in there. But depending on what you're doing, whether it's raised garden or whatever, you got to start with a good foundation.
Yeah, for example, my wife was at the store Saturday and saw that the tomatoes were there, and she comes home with a tray of plants, and I'm like, we really don't have a spot for these, so I've got to get busy. But in my
honey-do
case,
list.
in my case, I actually want to put in a raised bed for her to do the veggies and the herbs. You can kind of control the environment a little better.
Yeah.
So you can get good soil in there. You can get the stuff. It's up high, so you're not having to bend over and fool with it. You're making a nice display. You're looking at it every day, so you can really maintain it. So you really want to take the time, instead of just grabbing this tomato and popping it in next to your rose bush. You really want to have a designated
you need
area.
quality soil too,
organic
right?
soil. I want to use an organic soil because we're going to eat the stuff, obviously. We want to use a soil that holds water. We want to try to use organic fertilizers. So you really want to take some steps. Go talk to an independent garden center to find out what those steps are to have success with
And
that
that's
stuff.
a great thing about having an independent garden center. You can stop people all over your grounds who can answer our questions, because there is a lot to be done that we're not quite aware of. Even like which plants go where and what part of the house. When you say full sun, what does that really mean in Houston, Texas versus Maryland or Minnesota, don't you know?
Yeah.
So, all right, some things like you mentioned some starter plants right now: rosemary, thyme, fennel, lemongrass, lavender, and what is a toothache plant?
Toothache plant is right here in front of you. So they discovered, I think it was from the way back, when people would have issues with their teeth. If you chew on these leaves, it actually makes your mouth go numb. I remember getting to do it in horticulture class, and it really numbs your whole side of your mouth.
Okay, back in the day.
Other than, it's kind of fun and it's a great story, you're not necessarily going to eat it, but it's a cool little herb to have. The classics are your basils and the rosemaries. And I will say, a lot of herbs, they like a lot of sun, and in a lot of cases, they can take the heat. So they are something that you can really have throughout the summer.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing for this time of year.
All right, cool weather veggies. You talked about the cabbage, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, all of those things.
Yes, yeah, and the started plants will be coming into the nurseries in the next couple of weeks. But you can also start them from seed. Most of the nurseries are going to have large selections of different seeds that you can do at this time of year. One of my favorites to recommend to folks, though, is just the simple radish, if you have children. it grows so fast.
Yeah,
You know,
I
within
remember my
30
son did
days,
this.
you're harvesting something.
He didn't really like radishes before, but when he planted it and took ownership of it, he pulled it right out of the ground, dirt on it, and went, "This is good, Mom, taste it," because he owned it. But it is a good way to have your kids have ownership
introduce
of
them,
good food, right? Nutrient-dense food. All right, so some radishes can grow quickly. Like you just said, lettuce, spinach, beets, turnips.
Carrots,
Yeah.
you know, in there. There's still time for beans, green beans if you want to. We're still warm enough for enough months. Zucchinis, you can still get a crop of cucumbers, you know, if you want to.
Yeah, timing is everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because we're gonna have we're gonna have warm weather up until Thanksgiving generally. So that's Dad's making you can still grow a lot of these things that you think is summer because it's Houston. We stay warm for so long.
Yeah.
And when he's saying started plants, he's saying when you actually go and you purchase a plant that's already been started.
Yeah.
Versus growing from seed. That's why a lot of people think we're crazy when we say, hey, you got to get these seeds in the middle of August. Well, it's because this seed takes weeks to turn into this, so you got to get the jump start on the seeds now, or you wait a few weeks and you buy a starter plant.
Yeah, I'm just going to go with the starter plant. Get me started. All right, fertilizers, that's another area where a lot of us are confused in what we need.
Yes. You have two big choices. You can go completely organic, or you can use the synthetic fertilizers. They both work. For those that are organic, we're lucky in Houston. There's a company right here that formulates all of these fantastic fertilizers, MicroLife, and they're specific for different groups of plants. So we can help you choose the best one to give you the best conditions to grow your particular plant.
Yeah. Is this something you're going to eat later or something that's just pretty in the garden, right?
Yeah, and fortunately, any of the organic fertilizers can be used on different crops. For example, the blue container.
It's that one.
Yeah. It's great for veggies. Okay, it's a little bit higher in nitrogen. Also, these organic fertilizers have lots of good bacteria and fungi, which are excellent for getting healthy root systems.
Yep.
But we have a plant just to the left of you, Deborah, called a blueberry. And we're going to use the red formulation, the acid-forming fertilizer.
Yep, that's it.
To grow those in the Houston area, you want to make sure you have a very acidic soil for them. Okay, lots of peat moss in there, acidic fertilizers, but you can get a fantastic crop. There's a lot of hybridizing that's been done to get southern varieties.
And don't think you don't need to mitigate your soil. The soil can change from the front yard to the backyard even, right?
It's crazy how the difference it can be. Another good point on if you do go the organic route, you can't over-fertilize. I'm sure you've seen or had an experience where on a fertilizer that's not organic, you can over-treat and burn the plants.
Yeah.
So organics are nice because you really can't mess it up, which is great.
All right, good to know.